He's the man in the back of the room. Y con la voz de Dios. He's told U.S. presidents where to sit, CEOs where to go, and stars when to shine. But as he likes to point out,
who cares? I care.
It's true, she cares. And so does he. He's entertainment and production agency owner and meeting and event master, Anthony Bollotta. She's his Agent 99, and you're about to be Bollotta-FIDE.
Hi, friends, and welcome to another episode of Bollotta-FIDE, the one and only pod about events, entertainment, and engagement. I'm Anthony Bollotta, and I'm here as I am every week with the always delicious, always optimistic Alexia Cristina Postaliris. Opa, Alex.
Hello.
Hello.
They can't see me batting my eyes at you, but I'm batting my eyes at you.
Oh, I feel the batting in your, just in your voice. It just, I could almost feel the batting against my cheek.
I'm trying to do my Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, goodness. Oh, it sounds more like...
Marlena.
What was her name? Yeah, Marlena Dietrich.
Marlena.
Yeah, yes.
It's all the smoke that's happening in my office here because I decided to be zen and I burned some incense. So it smells delicious in here, I have to tell you.
Oh, that's the first time I've ever heard smoke smell called delicious.
Only because it's incense.
It's not really smoke.
No. It's lovely.
We were talking about smoking the other day. I don't know, for some reason, D'Angelo brought it up. So we were talking about how my parents smoked when I was a kid. And we used to drive to the bowling alley where they were on a league on Monday nights. Believe it was the same night that Carol Burnett was on, because I vividly remember. No, she was on at Saturdays at one point, but I think also Mondays at one point. I do remember wanting to get home to watch that. So maybe it was in the later years. But nonetheless, I was telling him how on the way to the bowling alley, I would always get ill from the smoking in the car.
And the windows rolled up.
Of course, all the way.
Oh, remember back they had the little tiny window in the back seat.
Yes,
and
the little triangular window.
Yes, but being the youngest and the only girl, I was forced to sit in the middle, so I didn't have access to that little tiny bit of fresh air.
Gosh,
That's why I sound like Marlena.
That's why. I actually have this visual of me standing, not sitting, but standing, on the floor of the back seat of the car, with the window rolled down a smidgen and my lips up to the window, just trying to breathe fresh air as dramatically as I could to represent the fact that I was getting sick in the car. Nobody cared.
Oh, I care. I would have cared because I was right there with you, enduring the same thing. It's horrible. It's a horrible, horrible smell. And I've been called dramatic. But as soon as if somebody is smoking and they walk by me, I start coughing. And Ileana's dad used to say, "Oh, you're being dramatic. You're making." I'm like, no, it's a visceral reaction to having been so sick from it my whole life. And I mean, I've broken ribs from bronchitis because I have smoker's lungs, and I've never smoked a day in my life.
And I have asthma.
Me too.
And always have. I mean, I can still remember as a child, and my mother smoked during pregnancy because at the time, it was cool. Nobody thought anything else about it. But I remember being in grade school and having to run the 100-yard dash and literally being the last fatty, like bowled over and breathing heavily, trying not to lose my cookies because I was trying to run fast. Story of my life.
Here's how little they worried about it. My mother actually ran a pulmonary office and smoked while she was pregnant. They had an iron lung in the office.
Right. Well, the prevailing belief of the day was, that it was fine. Not much studying had been done on it, and it was just fine.
Kept you thinner, and it was more important to be thinner.
And it looked cool.
It really doesn't. I have to say that's my one really bad, and I'm sorry, prejudice out there, but as soon as I see somebody with a cigarette, I just have a different view of them. Sorry to my friends who smoke, but I do.
Gives a new meaning to smoky eye. Smoky breath. It's like licking an ashtray. I heard somebody say once. I know.
That's such a visual. Okay.
Okay, before we get started, if you're a new listener, please take this time to like and subscribe.
Go ahead. We'll give you a sec.
Why, thank you!
Well, maybe we need an intermission from the cigarettes.
I think so.
That happens to be the topic of my tipsy today.
Let's get tipsy!
And it's all because of you, Miss Alex.
Aw.
It is. You are the inspiration behind this tipsy, and the tipsy is a permission to intermission, as it were. Now, I'm not really a fan of intermissions when it comes down to it, in the theater, that is. I don't like them. When Christopher Ashley brought Come From Away to life at La Jolla Playhouse in an hour and 40 minutes, I was ecstatic. Along with a chorus line, it's among only a handful of Broadway musicals that don't have intermissions. I love musicals, and still, I feel there are too few without intermissions. The way I see it, more is not more, and too much of a good thing is too much of a good thing. At the saturation point, the valuation of that thing begins to decrease. There's a point at which even chocolate cake, also something I love, can become nauseating. That's why I stop at half a cake a sitting. But for the life of me, I don't understand the thinking behind an event timeline that features speech making and fundraising when applicable, starting the moment guests are seated at their tables and continuing nonstop throughout the event. Speeches, while potentially informative and presumably well-intended, are not good things. Not when they're served up at an event in firing squad style, one after another, after another, after another. Following the point of saturation, the point at which guests simply stop listening to engage in hushed table conversation or quietly eat their meal, little, if anything, spoken from the lectern is actually heard, even by those who appear to be listening. In fact, it's taking a toll on their energy and one could argue overall sense of well-being. So, what is the point of all those speeches? And did you know that studies show that idly sitting and listening to a speech is the least effective way to absorb information? The least. Now here's where the rant becomes a tipsy. If what needs to be said at that lectern is so important, then save it as a follow-up, repeatable message to re-engage attendees. And if it isn't, toss it and give your audience permission to intermission. If what needs to be said is about more who needs to speak, then instead use the power of video and social media to engage those speakers and create messages you can push out to a broader audience online and give your audience permission to intermission. And if it's about fundraising, separate it from the speech making altogether and make it fun, interactive, and engaging, and use the time you gain to give your audience permission to intermission. Creating an engaging event when there is a lot of information to share is a delicate balance. Making sure you include moments in your timeline for guests to enjoy the company of one another will help you to create that balance in your events. And that is my probably more of a ripsy because it's a rant meets a tipsy. But there you have it. Oh, it frustrates me so much.
Oh,
I
agree.
Oh, I wonder if our guest has something to say about it, because I'm sure that he has experienced this. But when you're in a room and there are tables and people are being fed dinner specifically, and somebody is going on and on and on at the lectern, and it's clear that maybe half of the room is even pretending to listen.
Yep.
I just don't understand why somebody at that lectern just doesn't say, you know what, we'll put this in a newsletter, have a good meal, and we'll see you in a moment. We'll be back in a moment, you know?
Especially when you've paid all that money to eat rubber chicken, you want to at least enjoy it a little.
Absolutely.
Right?
You know, and sometimes you're asked to fill a table.
Yes.
And so you've got people all around you that are your guests, and it's very hard and embarrassing when it just goes on and on and on and on, because you're hoping they're going to have a good time, and that just isn't
right.
a good
right.
time.
And it has to be a balance. Everything in life, it has to be a balance. But I agree with you.
I'm because she's kind of a verbose woman. I am kind of curious to know what Yaya would say about this problem.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. So first of all, we all know every single family has one of those people, right?
Oh, yeah.
We have one of those people that always has a speech prepared, no matter the occasion. And usually it has nothing to do with the celebration or event at hand. They just want to get up and talk. So in our family, it was Uncle Stavros, Theo Stavros, as I should say. And every dinner, every party, every wedding, everything. So
here he comes.
Here he comes. So when my cousin Gus was getting married, my yaya gave her permission to intermission by tipping the bouzouki player to yell out "Opa" and begin playing as soon as Theo Stavros started standing. So when I asked her why she did that, she said, "Oh, agapimu. Mono I anoiti agapun ton hijo tis dikistus phonis."
And that means?
Only a fool loves the sound of his own voice that much.
That is so true. So true. I need to learn this one.
Okay.
I do. I need to learn this one. I have to learn. I'm going to have to ask you to repeat it to me on a tape recorder so I could... A tape recorder. Okay. Listen to me. On my phone so I can like repeat it, learn it, and then repeat it.
Yeah, okay.
Excellent. Thank you, Yaya. I cannot agree with you more. But I do have a question.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I do have a question about your cousin Gus.
Yes.
So Gus is a female cousin?
No, male.
Okay.
But it's Theo Stavros was going to get up and make a speech at Gus's wedding.
Oh, because you said your yaya gave her permission, and now I'm realizing
bouzouki player
gave her permission to enter. Okay,
intermission,
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and you know what a bouzouki is? I actually have one in my office here.
It's I do.
Instrument, yeah. So, and bouzouki usually kicks off the music. So poor Uncle Stavros, Theo Stavros, didn't have a chance.
Didn't have a chance.
Not at all.
Bouzouki.
Yeah.
We should hear you play the bouzouki.
I don't play it. My mom bought it the same time she bought me my antique mandolin, which I did play for many years. And she bought the bouzouki more because it's Greek and we're Greek and everything is Greek and all good things in the world are Greek. And if it's not Greek, it should be.
It should be. I wonder if our guest plays the bouzouki. I bet he could. I bet he could if you challenged him to play the bouzouki.
I bet he could. It's such a pretty, tinny, but pretty sound. It's just, you can't hear bouzouki without getting up and breaking plates and dancing.
That's very relaxing.
Well, as we know, breaking plates keeps the evil spirits away, so it really is relaxing.
Just makes you want to break plates.
Yes, break plates.
So I keep teasing we have a guest today, so why don't we just go ahead and bring him out? He's going to be the highlight of today's conversation.
He is. He is. And it's hard to top Yaya. I'm just going to say that, but he's going to. But we interviewed
Ba-dum-bum.
our guest. We interviewed our guest today as Santa in episode 130, but we wanted to have him back to talk about all his other incredible offerings and his wide scope of creativity. So from his private gig at SeaWorld to hosting their dolphin show, being the executive director of young audiences to leading one of San Diego's most beloved groups, the JACKSTRAWS, and being an understudy at one of the top regional theaters in the country, he is truly an inspiration. Please welcome the marvelous, the talented, the wonderful, the sweet, the kind, Loren Smith.
Well, there you are. Hi, folks. How you doing?
How you doing, Mr. Loren Smith,
I'm
aka
good.
Santa, aka Jackstraw, aka I could go on and on and on.
It's been a crazy run. It's been amazing, just all the different things you can get your paws into as you become, I guess, successful in this business.
Is that how you maybe view your career in life? Learning about things and then wanting to get more involved or find out more or do something more, or because it seems that you sort of played it by ear.
Well, you know early what you're going to be, hopefully. And a quick little story. When I was about 6, 7 years old, I had some nervous twitches. I would shake my head and I would grit my teeth and things like that. And my mom put a guitar in my hand and they all went away. So
No.
I knew about when I was 7 or 8 years old that, that I was going to be a musician. Little Ricky Nelson didn't hurt too much either. That's what happened. And then I just kind of followed through. My first performance was at 6 years old for the Sew and Grow Garden Club in a little place in nowhere, Minnesota.
Self-taught,
Wow.
Lauren?
No, I've
You
had
took some lessons?
I've had plenty of guitar lessons. I toured Europe with the United States Collegiate Wind Band out at Purdue
Oh,
University when I was in college.
Oh,
Gave up the trombone because obviously the trombone player doesn't get the gigs. So I took up
fewer
the,
gigs.
that's really not true. I found out because my son plays trombone and he's done quite well.
I thought you were going to say the trombone player doesn't get the ladies.
Oh, well, no. They won't let him use the playground though because he doesn't know how to use the slide and he can't swing. Okay.
Oh,
Don't
boy.
get me started on musician jokes or
But
we'll be here
how,
45 minutes.
how many instruments do you play, Lauren? Or
Um, Half a dozen fairly well. Electric bass and acoustic bass, electric guitar, acoustic guitar. I've been a drummer in my life. I'm a trombone player. I have this philosophy that if a musician is worth his salt, you can put any instrument in front of him and give him just a little respectable amount of time, and they should be able to make music out of that. With the bouzouki, I'm sure I could. I'm sure I
Oh,
could.
you
yeah.
absolutely
But
could.
but what is in your estimation is a respectable amount of time
To what?
to learn an instrument
Well,
in a
I'm
way that, enables you to, pull a tune out of it?
Well, I would say probably a week. I could do something in a week on any instrument. And
Now, wait a
Wow.
minute. I want to ask you, any instrument or any like instrument? A
well, I think
string to
pretty
a
much any
string or a
instrument.
string to a wind?
Um, I would take the challenge to play a wind instrument with a reed if I had to. I mean, I could
Oh.
certainly make sounds out of it. Um, Once again, it's mostly mechanics, and then all you need is somebody that can teach you a couple of little tricks, and off you go. And then there's a subjective reality of whether you're any good or not.
That is subjective for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
Well, when you first got that guitar, I'm curious to know, did it come naturally to you immediately when it was first handed to you? Was it something you took to? I mean, obviously it helped you in those early days to get rid of the tics, but mentally, was it something that you immediately took to?
I would say, yeah. I really wanted to be a guitarist. I really wanted to be a musician. I had a idol that played in a band called Buddy and the Versatiles, and he gave me about 10 lessons and then sat me down and said, "Listen, I can't teach you anymore. Here's another book. Have fun. Go get them." And
Wow.
then curiously later on, he would hire me to be playing his band sometimes when I was in ninth and 10th grade. It was pretty cool.
Now, do you have musical siblings? Uh,
Yes, all of us played music, but family wise, no, I don't know where that came from.
So nobody, not your mother, your father, none of your ancestors were musicians.
Nope, not that I can. My dad was a doctor. My mom was ran a bowling alley, um, but she played a little piano, but not much.
Mm, wow. And how many siblings do you have?
Three sisters and one brother.
And
Wow.
and you all play music or all,
All
wow.
did play music, yeah.
And so do your sons.
Yes, one of my most proud moments is the fact that as a parent, when you think about what you do and what you've given your kids, and if there's any sort of longevity to your own spirit, I think about my kids because I've taught them both to love and appreciate music, and they'll take that. That's how I qualify whether I'm, one of the things I put on the list of being a good dad.
Mm.
The fact that they're going to carry music through, and they've become quite good at it. I'm very pleased.
Did you also tell them they could be anything they wanted to be?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
Uh,
one of
of
them went
course.
the other direction and became an art major. And I went, "Oh God, he's an art major. Oh God, he's a musician. What am I?" And they both done just fine.
yeah. And they will do just fine
Yeah,
because you did
yeah,
just fine, right?
yeah. I agree. Yeah,
You made it. You made it
yeah.
happen.
Well, how come I couldn't have been born rich instead of so good looking, though? I mean, you can't have everything.
You
Though,
can't. You can't. You
you
can't
know,
have everything. At least your looks haven't faded.
that's true.
You
Well,
still have your
pick,
looks. Money
Yeah.
comes
up
and
on top.
goes.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Shine isn't a bad thing.
Not at
No.
all.
Not at all. We want you to shine. It's interesting, Lauren, because I was just having this conversation the other day. I'm studying music sound therapy.
Oh, yeah.
And so we were talking about, for example, jazz standards and how kids today, to them, we think, how do you like such old music? And then my teacher, the theory teacher, said, well, it's not old to them. And I remember my daughter at 2, we would have dance parties and we'd say, okay, Ileana, what do you want to hear tonight? She would either say kayakamukak, which was classical music, or jazz. And from the time she could speak, she was singing Ella. And you give her standards, and she'll sing it all day long. She loves it.
Wow.
So it's really great when you give your kids, like you have to yours, such a well-rounded education and love of something that is pleasing to listen to, but has, as you know, since it helped with your tics, has so many other wonderful qualities and all the good that music can do to heal our hearts, our minds, and our bodies.
True said. Yeah.
Lauren, I'm gonna describe you as someone who makes things happen and
Yes.
who believes all things are possible. And I'm doing that without your permission, uh, or even your agreement, based on what I know of your career and how you simply really took the bull by the horns and found gigs and made more gigs out of the gigs that you had and made more of all that you had. You simply leveraged every, it looks like every place you were able to get in, you were able to leverage it into something bigger. And I commend you for that. It's incredible to have that gift. And it's such a good lesson because often we don't see all those possibilities when we walk into something. And yet you're somebody that walks into a situation and I think automatically begins to see what could be or what is possible. Would you agree with that?
I would certainly agree with that. You bet. I've been blessed, though. I tell you, I've always been full of both drive and ambition.
Hmm.
And that certainly has helped me, steered me through the ups and downs of it. Because believe me, it's not always as easy as people think when you get 72 nights in a row at the zoo, and then at the same time you're doing 30 days in a row at the fair. And there was years and years that we did that. I like to think that my course has been navigated with some thought to it, but I think I've been really, really blessed. I can see opportunity when it sticks its head up at me, and I try to, every opportunity I have certainly, hopefully, leads to another opportunity.
It
Well,
sure
there's
does.
there's a talent in being open to what comes before you when you have no real notion of it, to be able to recognize, oh, wait, this is an opportunity.
Yeah,
Let's do something fun with it. Not everybody can do that.
no, you'll see a lot of people in our business that don't have the perspective that we do. My perspective has always been to sit on the side of the musician, and sometimes that hasn't worked out. I'll walk away from business if it's not right for the musician, and I hope that's what the my musician friends will remember about me, is the
Mm.
fact that, yeah, Smith stood up for us for a change instead of having everybody just kind of roll over them and give them their $50 and put them in the corner.
Is it something, is there a, a circumstance or something that you could share to elucidate us on what a situation might be that would, not be so favorable to a musician in
Well, the
our
one
world?
that comes to mind right away is um, I won't say the client, but there
Mm-mm.
we were in the sun, and
Mm-hmm.
and it's 100 degrees out, and I say, well, can we get some shade? And them saying, well, I've never had a band that's needed shade before. And I looked at the guy up on the stage with me, and it says, well, this is a 70-year-old guy. And I said, not only that, but those are, $1,000 worth of guitars in every one of them. And I says, where? It, what do we do? And I said, where's the liability there? And they leaned forward and said, are you threatening me? And sure
Mm.
enough, a year passes and I'm no longer there. But the new crew is, and guess what? They've got covering over all the stages. And you know, I've had that bite me in the butt a couple times in my life where where I'm going to still stick up for it. I
Hmm.
don't feel bad about what happened, because they always think that, well, that's his only job. He's going to not do well. Well, I got my hands in a whole lot of different pies, let's say. So I always am amazed that they think I've just got one job. I've got my hands full.
Well, it's interesting that you'd have an argument about something like that. I would have to say it's probably just a lack of understanding about what is really needed and why it's so important. The gentleman and his equipment.
Hmm.
Yeah. I walked away from one more recently. This is a couple years ago, because they wanted me to start booking by quota. And that really, really bothered me. They wanted 25% women, 25% black, a 50% mix between brown and white. And I said, that's not the way I book entertainment. How about we book by talent? And fine, Mr. Smith. And I said, well, okay, that's it. I quit, after long years and years and years and years. But again, I'll sit behind the desk of the musician, almost to the fault of the agent, because I want to make sure that they know that this is right. What's right
Mhm.
is right.
Yeah, and I think in the world of events, musicians can get stuck in some pretty precarious situations if
Hmm.
they're not willing to, stand up for themselves,
Sure,
uh, or if there isn't somebody on site that understands why it's so important.
sure.
It's wow, it's amazing that that happens, but it sure does.
Yeah, well, and I'm glad it happened with me and not maybe some of the musicians I know that maybe have a little bit more of a temper, or there might have been more of a story to tell. But listen, I've been the diplomat all along. I mean, I don't mind having those conversations with people, but it's amazing how inflexible some people can be,
Hmm.
you know. where they're just looking at the clock and they're not realizing what it is you're bringing to an event, what you can do to a room to increase their sales. For instance, if you're at a room, a musician can do a whole lot in a bar situation to affect the bottom line.
Absolutely. Sets the mood, sets
Yeah,
the atmosphere, puts people at ease,
yeah.
makes it easier to meet people.
Well,
All of those things happen.
You can do that even with just music without the performance. I did honor flight down at the airport last Sunday, and I set up a huge sound system. And then as everybody, all they had 90 Vietnam, Korean war vets. They were all Navy SEALs that were being flown back from Washington, and they're coming down. There's 200 active military lining the halls, as they get off the airplane and come in. And it's just putting the right music in the right order. I swear I made people cry. I mean, not
Mm.
only is it an event it's a heart warming event, but oh boy, it's like, talk about feeling proud of what I do on that. That was the 20th one of those, by the way.
Wow.
9 times I've been on
Wow.
them. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Which is
you,
another, I mean, 20 times. I must be doing something right.
yeah, absolutely. When you're called back and called back and called back, and people, you're a very popular guy. People want to work with you because not only is the product good, but it's good to work with you.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I care about what I'm putting out there. I do.
Yeah.
You
And
do,
you're pleasant and cordial and fun to work with. And those are such important qualities,
and
you know,
reliable.
and reliable, very
Reliable.
reliable.
Yeah.
Absolutely reliable. And there you learn in business when you work with people that there really kind of are two types. There are people who go above and beyond to make sure that they hit all of the points that they promised. And there are people that don't and just, will make an excuse if something didn't happen the way it was supposed to, or will, foist the blame on somebody else. And you are the former. You're the guy who goes above and beyond to make sure that what you promise comes to life, comes to fruition. Your name is on it. You take great pride in your work and what you deliver. And so it's important to you that it go well. And so, as somebody who works with you, we get the advantage of that, right? And
Yeah.
we rely on that. And we
Sure.
book you for that reason because we know when Loren is out there, God forbid something should go wrong or something should go right. Loren is going to do everything he can to make it right. And if nothing's going wrong, then it's going to be fabulous because Loren is on it and
Yeah,
he's
there
going
you
to
go.
make sure it is. I mean, that is how we think about you, and I can't imagine that anybody else thinks differently about you. 20 times doing a gig, getting repeat clients over and over again, having people call you, that's the sign.
Yeah, it is. Well, and it's amazing how that leads down so many other roads. I mean, there are so many venues out there that the musician locally doesn't realize are out there. All the number of years I spent with the city schools doing those bluegrass assemblies for young audiences. Amazing.
Hmm.
Um, just the airport, because you realize that when you put music where people don't expect it, you can really make magic. And it's not all music, as you know. I mean, there's everything from trying to pick the right comedian, which is really sometimes difficult for
Hmm.
try to match them, or dancers. Dancers are always a completely different troupe. I've got dancers coming up because of Cinco de Mayo, and like they're just a different breed.
Hmm.
They're not the musician; they're just different. So,
They sure are. Now, you have had an eclectic career. You just
Yes.
mentioned working as the director of young audiences. How did that role, being the director of young audiences, inform your future career as a provider of entertainment?
um, well, first of all, it put me right in touch with the symphony, with all
Oh.
the major symphony peoples. And when they offered me the job, I had just come from a CETA program where they had me go into every one of the uh, elementary schools with a group we called Dusty Roads. And what we did there is we did folk music, and we tied it into a storyline. And the guy that was running that said, "You'd be a good director of young audiences. Why don't you apply?" And I did. I applied. Then I realized after about a year that while they were a nonprofit, I wasn't. So I ended up going to work for one of our agent colleagues, Barbara Brady, many years ago,
Oh, yes.
and she really said, "Well, Loren, just why don't you dress it up as a modern maritime?" And she really gave me the inspiration to costume it in so many different ways.
You talking about the JACKSTRAWS
Yeah, yeah,
specifically? Now, it's funny. I honestly, after reading about how you met the JACKSTRAWS and really were the change agent for them, because they weren't working very much when you met them, and you made them probably the most popular group in the area. There was a time when the JACKSTRAWS were everywhere
yeah.
at every weekend. Uh, I was surprised that you weren't an original member of the JACKSTRAWS. You came into the JACKSTRAWS, you saw them, you found them, and then you really made them successful. So you're crediting a little bit Barbara and your association with her and her influence.
Sure. And I'll give credit to Dave Kendall, and a name from my past, and Jonathan Parker, who is responsible for just a whole lot of our instrumentals. But what happened that was different is I saw that we had the potential to work sometimes 2 and 3 jobs a day. And, the Jackstraws still had a career as chasing the dream. Um, but I had at that point gotten married, had a kid, had a mortgage, and I saw this opportunity to actually work and make the payments as way more important to me than the dream. Not that I didn't still chase the dream, but now I realize in hindsight that that was where the road really changed when I realized I needed to use this as a vehicle to make myself a living.
And was it through the parks, through the zoo and SeaWorld, that you eventually brought the Jackstraw and the fair, that you eventually brought the JACKSTRAWS into the event arena?
Um, Jack Straws, I thought of us as the unofficial ambassadors of San Diego. As soon as I hitched up with the port and with Horton Plaza and with Seaport Village, and I started following the marketing directors from gig to gig, and they remembered me. A lot of folks don't realize that's the success, is being able to keep up your relationships with the people that book you. And with you, Anthony, I've known you since you and I applied to work for I forget the name of the company, but Cheryl's company.
That's right, Irwin
Yeah,
Productions.
a long time ago.
Hmm.
And, we've been friends ever since. I appreciate that.
Oh, well, I remember when you started your business. I think we actually had a conversation, a lunch. I had left Irwin Productions and was starting mine, and maybe you weren't starting a business then, but you were, I think, I think you were transitioning into an agency.
Yeah, I bit the bullet. I got the license. I posted the bond. I got the building. I got everything. That's that time when you have 5 people working for you and you realize you're making a lot of money, but you yourself aren't making any money because you're
Right.
paying everybody else. Um, and that worked right up until 9/11, and then the phone stopped ringing, which I'm sure they did where you are too. And
Hmm.
then I've been able to lean on performing. Also, it's like there's been times when 80% of what I was doing was performing, and then there's been times when only 20% of what I've been doing is performing. So that balance is something that I haven't really been able to dictate. It just seems to be the what's happened.
That sounds like, a little bit of having to pivot and be adaptable to what's going on in the economy and in the world, right?
Sure. Certainly did. Certainly is. And then
Uh,
who would have imagined that the Santa thing dropped right in my lap? that was I mean, what a business that has become for me, and because I really care about it, I really like
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
being that
Hmm.
character. I've had an amazing amount of success, and pushed me right into TV land, which of course changed my whole world.
It
Um,
sure did. It
the
was, what was the name of the show?
Santa's in the Barn. You can still see it on. Oh, it streams. It streams live every year. Where are my residuals? I don't get any.
I don't know where they are. I don't. You should have won that for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
We watched Santa's in the Barn. We didn't know you were going to be one of the Santas vying to be the Santa in the barn, as it were.
Yeah,
There were, I think, 10 of you that
kind
started,
of.
or
Yeah.
10 of you, and you honestly were the best. You showed the best. Your storyline was the best. We thought you were going to win it. We were sure you were going to win, and then it just seemed like something changed at the end.
Well, haven't you noticed that a lot of those reality shows, number two does better than number one
That
overall
that
anyway?
happens.
And
Yes.
that really has been the case for me because while I regret that I didn't win, and I realize now that maybe there was a little bit of maybe they planned it out a little bit like
Hmm.
that. But what an adventure! What a month away from San Diego that was just completely. People have no idea. I mean, about reality TV, what really happens. Um, the production part of that, it just always has impressed me. And when you guys go out with Bollotta and Associates and put on the big events, I go, boy, I wish I could do that. But I mean, there's the other side. The downside is you've got to go out there and do that.
Long days. Were they
Yeah,
long days on the set for you when you did
geez,
the show?
yeah, 6 in the morning till 11 at night, very often.
Wow.
Um,
A- And what did the experience garner you anything from professionally? Did you get more Santa gigs from it?
I get calls from LA for auditions for Santa stuff. I get
Ah.
So yeah, you bet. I mean, I
Do
I
you
got
go?
I ended up on another. Every so often they'll call me and they say, "Hey, you're on TV right now," and I go, "I recorded that 6 years ago," and it was one of those game shows that they had us bunch of Santas. And by the way, not my most glamorous moment. Uh, but yeah, that stuff happens. The I got to one of the most fun ones I did up in Temecula. They had me do their Arrival with Santa, but they gave me a 12-piece choir behind me, and they got permission to do Disney's um, The Greatest Showman. They changed it, The Greatest Snowman, rewrote it, and auditioned it, and 3,000 people. It just amazing. I mean, that
Wow.
they would trust me to stand up there and 7, 8 songs all by myself with the choir behind me, and 3,000 people in front of me.
Yeah.
To be able to create the magic is just what an honor they give me sometimes. I get to really be responsible for making people smile.
That's the mall in
Mm-hmm.
Temecula,
Yeah,
I'm assuming. Yeah,
yeah,
that is a big, big show. They do it every year, and it's the sort of the unofficial start of Christmas,
yeah.
if I recall. Uh, wow.
Yeah, that was amazing. I would love to do that anywhere that anyone would like to offer me that opportunity again, because we did it once, and wow, man, I thought this is where I should be. You know,
I can see it. Well, you connect with people, and there's an authenticity in the way that you connect. And as Santa, it's it's really evident with children, when you're with them, how much you're enjoying them. And you can just tell it's not fabricated. It's not fake. You feel the authenticity when they're with you and how you're engaging them. And that's what Santa needs to be. I mean,
you
Yes.
can draw the line right from Jackstraw's presentations, performances, right to the Santa, because there we were entertaining kids at SeaWorld for 20 years, or we were entertaining at the zoo for 20 years with basically, and the libraries, San Diego libraries have programs all summer long. They did a lot for creating different costume characters. I remember when we had the reading radio, um, they we became cowboys for that summer, and then the next thing you know, we're a cowboy band, the Caliente Cowboys, working at the fair. I mean, we change costumes and characters, and there's 10 people in the Jackstraws, and we pick um, trios and quartets to fill the bill. And I'm willing for challenges too. I mean, we've had all kinds of people come to us and say, "Can you be gladiators?" Probably the most fun one we did was they wanted a rock band for an opening up at the safari park, and we dressed up as the Flintstones, with the
Love that.
and, and the pictures are just hilarious, and it was so
Love it.
so, wherever you can maybe jump outside the box and then look in and jump back and forth is, in and out of that box with people. Sometimes people don't see me though as the musician; they see me as the producer, and that's interesting because maybe I made the mistake long ago of not um, keeping the dream going, because I've been close a couple times to to kicking, and it always has been that the group just hasn't been all in the same spot at the same time.
Mm.
Without going into that any further, I think you probably know what I mean on that, where
Mm-hmm.
everybody isn't quite there, and you go, well, finally know then what I knew now.
Well, do you prefer being seen as the producer or the talent?
Well, I could say both sides of that. Now I'm wishing I would play more. I still play enough, but I wish I played out more. As he's coming up to 22 days straight at the San Diego Fair with the surf band coming up here in June, and
Here we go.
but the production stuff is because I don't take on anything more than I can handle, is it's sufficient for me. But now again, my stepson, who is also in a band in town, doesn't need to play music. He and I have a huge system, a sound system now. We can do up to about 3,000 people. Now the good news is we can do 3,000 people, but the bad news is you still have to haul that stuff around,
That's
set it
right.
up, and maintain it.
That's
So
right.
yeah, but again, what we're getting is repeat business because people know we're going to basically what you say, be there, set it up, be dependable. They don't have to worry. They can go on to worrying about the meal or
Mhm.
So that I like the repeat calls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too, and feel that they say more about you than anything else when
Yeah.
somebody calls back. You actually, and Alex mentioned it in your intro, you worked at the Old Globe. You understudied the Hank Williams role in the Hank Williams story back in the 90s, and you say that you learned something from that experience. What did you learn being in the theater, and how do you apply it to your work today?
You know, um, let me think of the guy's name. The director,
Was it
Noel.
Jack O'Brien? No,
No,
No.
it's Craig Noel. Noel, is that his name?
Craig
No.
Knoll. Yeah.
Yeah. So he would, what a nice guy.
Mhm.
He would say to me, Loren, you got to learn how to block yourself correctly. You got to turn and face. You don't get, I mean, he really gave me an idea of how to be out on the street and how to make a difference, with presentation. So you
Mhm.
bet. I mean, that was amazing. And, basically, I understudied my birthday. They called, I mean, I saw the ad in the union that said they were looking for somebody that could play bass and play guitar and sing Hank Williams songs. And as a jackstraw, I said, well, I wonder if they realize I can do all of that. And I walked in just confident as could be. And it took me 10 minutes and they said, yep, you're our guy. And then, 8 weeks at the Globe. That was just life changing too. And I was only 28 years old, 29.
Wow. Did you go on? Did you get to go on at all?
Not a one time.
Damn it.
Darn it. Well,
Damn
and
it.
yeah, I mean, I was ready. I mean, but you call in every night at 7 o'clock, and if they need you, they need you.
Hmm.
So, I mean, but for me, that would have been piece of cake. I would have all I had to do is get up there and play the string bass or the guitar, sing the harmonies. I mean, that would have been. Well, anyway, hindsight is 2020. It didn't happen.
Well, it happened because
Yeah.
you were the understudy, and it only happened because you took a chance and
Yeah.
you know,
And
I,
people don't realize how difficult it is to be an understudy and always be ready to go on.
mhm.
It's
Yeah.
not an easy thing to do.
Because being ready is about doing it and
Mhm.
getting it in your body. And the more you do the role on stage, the more you become the role. So when you have to just step into it and be ready in your mind
Mhm.
without actually having the opportunity to
Oh
go
yeah.
through it, it's hard.
It's
Yeah.
very, very hard.
the pace might be completely different for the actors that are already there, but I gotta say they were all ready for that because
Hmm.
they did rehearse us. We did have to step up there in
Hmm.
rehearsal, because sometimes that's the way they do it. They throw you into the mix just to make sure that you were walking the walk as well as talking the talk.
Right, right. Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned blocking yourself just for the audience. Uh, does that mean opening yourself up to the audience, making sure you're including people with your body language, not shutting yourself off? Is those kinds of
Yeah,
things?
those are the kinds of things, yeah, because you don't want to be in a situation where you're talking to the back of the stage. You want to be able to talk forward, and the way you walk on stage and the way you present yourself, you got to always be thinking about where your projection is. So, I mean, that was really amazing. I took that right out to the street down to Seaport Village, right while I was doing that, and would critique the guys that I was working with and say, guys, if we're going to do this street theater thing, you got to make sure that you're talking forward. Don't say something to me that they can't understand. There's no
Exactly.
value in that for me.
Exactly. And you learned from being was it the host at the SeaWorld of the SeaWorld show? Were you the actual host of the dolphin show for a
Yeah,
while?
yeah.
And
Go ahead.
you say that you learned how to, if I got this right, how to work a big audience.
Right, right.
So what are some of the things that you took away from that
Well,
helped you?
you can appreciate the fact that the sound guys down at SeaWorld had it dialed in, and you were using your instrument and your talent and their microphones, and they would let you stand right on the edge, and you would sing to people, and then I mean, you'd have to make sure that you picked the right songs. They wouldn't let me play, for instance, anything from Disney. Because
Right, right.
they didn't have any. I mean, of course that makes sense, but you know, that's just whether they trust you enough to perform large. And it really was no really challenge for me other than, getting up and doing it. That was really cool. Talk about feeling like a star.
Is that are your body motions larger when you're playing big? Are you taking sweeping movements? Are you reaching out to the back row? How is it that you play big that you learned?
Well,
What are
you
some of the
gotta
tricks?
you gotta go a little slower. You gotta make sure that they can understand you. You gotta hope that you've picked the right songs, and then you gotta be able to talk to people. That's one of my pet peeves with the bands I see, even the ones that I really like, is they don't have a front person that can kind of tie it all together. My favorite one right now is a local celebrity, Rebecca Jade. She gives the
Hmm.
best 1 minute and a half introduction between songs. The flow is so good. I really appreciate that kind of talent because if you got two people up there on stage with you that you can bounce off, then you can really have some fun and make some magic, and you really make a difference with the people watching you.
Can't agree with you more. I remember when I started my career, Lauren, I just thought that's something that all performers can do. And learn the hard way that even the best of them and the most popular and the most successful of them, some of them can't do that.
Yeah.
It's not easy for some people to engage with the audience. It's really a gift.
Yeah. There was one day at SeaWorld where the sound went down, and I decided I was going to shout the show, 3,000 people in front of
Boy,
me. And it was because my high school band director was there, and all the way from Minnesota. He was sitting out in the audience, and that's a mistake. You got to learn your limitations. I wrecked my voice.
hmm
Yeah.
It took me 6 months to be able to sing again. The doctor said, "Well, we don't want you talking for 6 months." I went, "Yeah, that's going to happen." So, but I mean, I'm blessed to have gotten it back, but my range isn't what it used to be.
Really, from that experience of
Yeah,
trying
I,
to
I really hurt
yeah.
I really hurt myself. The vocal cords are a little more fragile than I thought. I shredded them.
And that's something that's a lesson for people out there and a reason why the sound is so important for those on the stage. Uh, you want to avoid that. And as a singer, you're the one that has to deal with the repercussions of that
Sure.
when,
Hmm.
something that people don't like to think about, but it there was definitely a repercussion to that.
Yeah, yeah, there sure was. That was a
Goodness. So
yeah.
what advice would you give to musicians who want to win gigs? What would you say to somebody who's
Um,
new?
well, I'd say be flexible. Number
Mm,
one, know your venue. See if you're right. I can't tell you the number of people that apply for work at Seaport Village where I book that aren't appropriate for that. You know, they don't know what's going on, and the pandemic changed a lot of things. Um, you know, particularly with regards to those kinds of venues, they gravitated towards soloists that have their pedals and their sequencing and everything down right
mhm.
rather than the groups. That really hasn't come back. Um, then, this is going to sound like stuff you've heard over and over. Be on time, be early, please.
Hmm.
Uh, Let me know how it went. I'd really appreciate a call back. How about, I can count on, one hand how many times I've had somebody call me that they gave me somebody at my gig gave them my card to have the next gig. That I wish that happened more. It doesn't
Hmm.
happen. So you know, but advice to people is if do what you love and make sure that people see that you love it. The toughest part is to be the band leader because you're in between everything and you're juggling everybody's personalities, and you're going to find that some of the personalities you need to judge with are the most um, well, they're the hardest to deal with because some of that real talent is a little crazy, if you know what I mean.
Hmm.
So the better be a band leader that can be the diplomat and tie it all together.
Yeah. And you said something right at the beginning of the sentence that is really good knowledge, a good nugget, and that is know the venue and
Hmm.
what it is they offer, what it is, who their clientele is, what they want to do with that venue. And most of us walk in with this is what I have to offer rather than what can I learn from this so that I can inform myself about what I should be offering.
Yeah, right. Look at your competition. Make sure that when you get to the gig, there's just no bumps. There's a way to make that all flow smoothly, and it doesn't have as much to do about I'm going to play. It's got to be all about how do I make this work for everybody.
Because it's really about engaging people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why you're there, uh, is to get people interested and keep them around longer and make them feel
Yeah.
more joyful and engaged. And
Look at the opportunity we're given as performers to go out there and make people smile, and people
mhm,
don't realize how the musician, particularly on the bigger clubs, he can take the energy and hold it way up. And then if somebody says something stupid, it drops right out, and then you got to start all over. But if you got the flow going, boy, you can take people on some trips musically that they'll remember. And it's so important because there's just not enough of that out there right now.
no, no, there isn't. Are you seeing it come back though? Are you seeing live music come back to venues around town?
Um, I see it coming back, but I don't know if can make this assumption, but it's not the same. I found out that Seaport, they prefer the soloists because of the budgetary constraints, but it's
Hmm.
also appropriate because they don't really need the five-piece band down there that costs them X amount of dollars because all they're really trying to do is create atmosphere. So
Right.
people can do that. So the people that want to do four-piece, five-piece groups, and I refuse to pay a four-piece group $200. You know, that's just,
Right.
I mean, I'm not in it to. I want to make sure that they know I'm on their side. I don't
Right.
want to take advantage of the musicians because some of them will go down and do it for $200, and I go, well, it doesn't do the full-time musician any good at all to have you
Right.
down there for $200 for four pieces. You know.
Right. That's absolutely right. And it really is not worth the time and the effort to put all of that together, to go down there, to set up, to manage
Unless you're
everyone for
unless
that.
you're a daytimer and that's your only place to get out and play, and that they might be great, but we got professional musicians in town that are incredible that that would take that opportunity to give them a little extra slice of the pie. I always like to think of it as to put a little more jelly in the donut.
What about the zoo? What about the what is it up north in Carlsbad? Legoland.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then also we have Sesame Street, don't we, here as well? Are
Well,
they?
are they still here? I'm not sure. But all those venues I've played for a long time. We started Lego when it first opened as a bluegrass band. Um, and that was a couple years we did that. Um, I still get hired to go back on that one from our friend Vernon,
Nice.
Ballesteros, who they
Nice.
have a lot of their entertainment there. He hires me to come up and do the Santa's Arrival, and that's always a big deal up there with all the stars that I get to rub shoulders with and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
again, they choose you because they can count on you to not flub the lines when you're up in front of 1,000 people or you're on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah.
Any last words you'd like to share with our audience? Anything that we didn't ask you that you're just dying to talk about?
Um, well, I just like to thank you guys for letting me talk a little bit about this, because just realize there's a whole lot of different venues that you can find for yourself as both the performer and entertainer that you might not be thinking about outside the box. There's just, I mean, who's going to be down there at 6:30 in the morning greeting the crowd as they get off one of the cruise ships? Well, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if it's the JACKSTRAWS. Who's going to meet that airplane that's coming in at 9 o'clock at night? Well, I bet you if it's needed, it's the JACKSTRAWS. Or how about you're staying over Christmas down at the Hilton, and who's going to make sure those kids get their Christmas presents on time? Because they're not home. Well, wouldn't that be Santa Loren? I mean, I've really been blessed, you guys. I'm so fortunate to be able to be this guy that I've become.
And who's going to open up the trade show and parade through the aisles playing salty music,
Yeah.
drinking music,
Oh,
vendors open and people come in? The JACKSTRAWS.
yeah, it just might as well be. I don't know if I got this handy, but you remember my old partner, Kathy Herbrook, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. She wrote me a mission statement that I think is worthy. And this has been my mission statement for years. It says, our mission is to exceed our clients' expectations each and every time with creativity in proposals and performance, random acts of generosity, competitive pricing, and a relentless dedication to quality services. Our goals are our clients' goals. I've kept that with me forever. It's
Smart lady.
Smart on, yeah.
Smart lady. Well, Loren Smith, aka Santa, aka JACKSTRAW, aka Hank Williams, aka you name it, I'll do it. It's unbelievable to have you here today. We love you.
Don't worry, you're both on the good list this year.
Oh, good.
Well, hey, we got a lot of time left.
Well, hey, some of us are always good.
That's right.
That's true. Alex is always good.
Yeah.
Always. Me, not so much, but I live to be more like Alex.
Well, it's nice that you guys have been my friends all this time too. I appreciate us being able to talk shop too.
Loren, we love you, we respect you, and we're so happy that you're part of our industry here in San Diego. We're very blessed. Thank you for all that you've done and do.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Peace out, Santa.
Yeah, take care now. Bye.
Bye.
All right, well, we're going to bring our audience out today with a really special rendition of a song that you wrote for KGB Radio back in 1977 for their homegrown 6th album, Songs About San Diego. And this is Good to Me by Loren Smith. Enjoy it.
Well, I met a girl, took me down wind and sea in La Jolla, where I began to finally live my own damn way. All night she gave me loving, well then she asked me if I'd stay another night. And early morning after coffee I see that San Diego's been good to me, oh boy, 'cause I can love once again. Well, she took me home, laughing out loud, we sang songs together. And I told her it's been a long time since one's been as close as she had just been to me. Diego, San Diego, San Diego, San Diego to me. 'Cause I know that I can love, 'cause I've been loved once again. I'm gonna love you, I'm gonna love you, I'm gonna love you, 'cause I'm gonna love you, I'm gonna love you, 'cause I'm gonna love you, I'm gonna love you. Well, she took me home, laughing out loud, sing songs together. And I told her it's been a long time since one's been as close as she had just been to me. Early morning after coffee, I see the security. Well, it's not temporary, and if your early morning coffee includes me, then San Diego, San Diego, San Diego, San Diego to me. Then San Diego, San Diego, San Diego, San Diego to me. 'Cause I know that I can love, 'cause I've been loved once again. I'm gonna love you, San Diego, love me again. I'm gonna love you, and again. I'm gonna love you, only please love me again. I'm gonna love you, San Diego, love me again. I'm gonna love you, San Diego, love me. I'm gonna love you, I'm gonna love you, I'm gonna love you.
Hey, thank you for listening to Bollotta-FIDE.
If you haven't already, please like and subscribe.
And remember to leave us your questions or comments at bollotta.com/podcast.
Bollotta-FIDE is a production of Bollotta Entertainment.
Hey, that's a lot of Bollotta. Stay engaging.